A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to the Vlog-A-Thon. Now here on the Vlog-A-Thon, let me go ahead and talk a few things about the Transformers Bayverse. Now I know I'm not entirely going into context based on my channel itself, but these are just some things that I happen to have a grandiose point of view on. Now, of course, anyone who can look at the Transformers Bayverse today, from 2007 all the way up to 2018, it seems that we've had ourselves an era that's pretty much over by now. Although it's not entirely confirmed if it's ever going to continue going. But I will say that the Bayverse was a one-of-a-kind Transformers series of feature films. They were all live action with computer-generated caricatures of the many different Autobots and Decepticons and otherwise that would appear in each film. The Bayverse was just one of a kind. It had so many great things going for it. Starting in 2007 with a pretty good box office record right off the bat. But then as Revenge of the Fallen came out, it didn't do as good as the first one, somehow. But of course it does in fact remain as being my all-time favorite out of all the Bayverse films. And as for Dark of the Moon, it also didn't do as much better as the first one did. And as time went on, any of us can draw a conclusion that with every new Bayverse film that came out in theaters, they did not do as good of a box office record as the first one ever did. As a matter of fact, with every new one that came out in theaters, they had a somewhat lower amount of money earned in the box office than the previous ones had. But with Bumblebee, being that it's the most recent, it still had a pretty good box office amount. It was multiplied a few times above its budget by the time that we were able to collect all data from it, but looking at it now, compared to the first Transformers Bayverse film, that one had a great box office record. And even though Bumblebee was supposedly going to be the last, there were plans to have a seventh film, which, of course, would tie into Unicron. But unfortunately, Paramount had that one pulled once and for all. By July of 2019, we were able to figure out that Transformers 7 would no longer be around. It's pretty much just that. Since Michael Bay had quit, and since others out there were pretty much just scratching their heads and trying to find out how to recuperate with this, it was only a matter of time before the series itself would be doomed, once and for all. Although I can say that for sure, those movies were great for their times. And even though it kind of went a bit more downhill since the complete change had to be made with Age of Extinction, I could still say for sure that for the time that it managed to survive through all of these times, it certainly did its worth. But of course, with the rise of other franchises out there and cinematic universes out there, including the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as well as a few other competitors out there, like the DCEU and otherwise. And not to mention, the Star Wars universe was also making a comeback with Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9, which all made themselves pretty good box office records for themselves, despite not having the best kind of attention or the best kind of capabilities as the first three films did, as in Episodes 4, 5, and 6. And Episodes 1, 2, and 3, they didn't really do a whole lot. They only did a somewhat average box office record, but of course, the first 3, 4, 5, and 6 were able to do pretty good. And, of course, 7, 8, and 9, they also did pretty good in the box office. But going back to Transformers Bayverse, it's pretty much over at this point. There's probably not much else I have left to say about it, but the fact that I actually had high hopes for a seventh film. And for the fact that maybe one day the films themselves might have themselves better box office records, but we just didn't really see that happening anytime. With the films out there, each ranging from one good box office record to another one not having a good one, to a third one, a fourth one, a fifth one, a sixth one, a seventh one. They all had lower box office records, as if one started from the top and then progressed downward as time went on. I guess there's not much else I'd have left to talk about, but the fact that we probably could expect a reboot or even a retcon to occur, just so the franchise itself could have itself a new opportunity for feature films. But until that happens, I'm Jay Nowak. Big Transformers fan, but not big of a fan of Transformers compared to Godzilla. And if you want to see more go done on my channel, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.